Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan, and today I'm joined by the colleagues.
I'm Ted.
I'm Nate.
And today we're going to kind of just talk about a character concept, the Macgyver character. We had one guy in one of our games back in the day where literally his character was spec'd to the nines with equipment. He was basically just a human rogue that, like, he had a diagram of where every single piece of gear was on him. He had all these, like, tricked out, like, useful items to help him solve problems.
Collapsible grappling hooks.
Back in second edition, they had a little bit more options for, thieves' gear. You didn't just have thieves' tools. You had, lock picks and the ball bearings and the caltrops. The hidden daggers, the boot knife, the whole kit and caboodle.
His character had figured out how he would carry every single one of those things on his body.
And his entire character sheet was literally like that three-dimensional portfolio. You hit a button and it swivels and it'll show you exactly. Oh, this item is hidden in the in the hidden belt sack on his left hip. This item is in a secret boot sheath. On his right calf.
When he stomps twice, he gets a boot dagger.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Well, for those of you who have been around long enough and can hardly remember the wonderful episodes of the show Macgyver. Macgyver was this character who always wound up in some kind of situation, and he solved the problem by being very inventive of what's around him. Mm-hmm. So we kind of wanted to make, well, how do you do something like that in 5th edition? So you kind of need some items that existed in previous editions of the game to kind of help bring some of that aspect of this character to the forefront.
Right. So like third edition had the Thunderstone, it had the Tanglefoot bags, and then you could some magic items or whatever. So there's the route of having just all the gear that you could possibly want to have.
Yeah, and those power of those items can be easily replicated by checking out the spells,
right,
and kind of augmenting them towards that.
Yeah. Now, but the only thing is, you don't want to step on the toes of the actual legitimate casters if you're doing this as gear that can be purchased by non-caster characters. So you want to keep the DCs relatively low, like
or not include all of the effects.
Right. So like when we were looking at ensnaring strike to possibly replicate a Tanglefoot bag, because you're only able to target one character, so it can restrain, and like the actual effects of it is it also deals damage. Well, let's strip out the dealing damage part, and maybe the DC is somewhere between 11 and 13, so you're not nearly encroaching on a character who's well built to do that. And it's this thing that you can maybe throw with like a range of 10 feet because it's like a sack that you have to hurl at somebody. So those kinds of things.
And rather with XP, like what the other character bought his abilities with, you're buying this with cold hard cash.
The power of currency.
Yes.
That's right.
And these type of things are really great. And if you're looking to to just offer your players some other advantage, maybe you don't have someone in your party that wants to play a wizard, and you want to you want to offer them some other ways of having some of those effects. These type of items are a perfect way to go about doing that.
So aside from the Tanglefoot bag, I think we figured out that the Thunderstone basically take like the effects of Thunderwave with
again, you strip out the damage, you give it just the knockback situation.
Well, the area of effect, or actually I'm even thinking the knockback with because the real power of the Thunderstone was the deafening, right? So con save for deafening. Maybe same area of effect with it, just so you use that template from Thunderstone, and then again that DC between like 11 and 13, which is relatively weak, so most characters have a pretty good chance of making that. So on top of these sort of like more like arcane sort of things, you could have the more mundane, like carrying flasks of acid, and caltrips, and of course you need like grappling hooks and rope, silk rope and stuff like that. So
you want to always make sure you've got that standard adventuring gear, and then look through that list of stuff that isn't in your explorer's pack and say, okay, well, what else might I wind up coming across that these other items could wind up being helpful. I've got a pouch full of 1,000 little metal ball bearings. Well, they wouldn't call it ball bearings back then, but we know it from our stuff today. and you dump that on the floor, and it's gonna, be difficult terrain, or it's gonna cause somebody moving at regular speed, a chance to, fall in their arse.
So maybe you carry like a thing of like lard. Essentially, you could do a non-arcane grease. Like grease a step because some guys are chasing you, but you have a little bit of time ahead of them. And then like this, you skip that step in your time, or they just see you going off, and then they like bust their ass going down that stair, and you just laugh on their way down.
So inventive trap making on the fly.
Right, if stuff that you could bust out in a round or two, so you
like someone looks through your pack. Why do you have a stick of butter? That's a stick of lard.
Yeah.
I have more questions now. Why do you have a stick of lard?
But basically, you almost want it to be like Home Alone. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's like watch Home Alone for some.
For some inspiration. So you just carry a bunch of toys, sharp metal pewter toys or something like that.
Well, a person with a tinker's pack and that kind of setup, and if you go to the arcane route with the artificer, you're looking at being able to instill these type of trap powers inside objects.
Indeed.
And if there's some way to like prep everything so that it doesn't take long to make it, you could kind of make it on the fly in that Macgyver-esque type feel.
Okay, so admission time, I've never seen a complete episode of Macgyver ever in my life. I mean, I liked Richard Dean Anderson watching the Stargate series it was on, but never saw actual Macgyver. But, so yeah, we were talking two ways of going about this. Either the non-arcane, and you have, you just go rogue, or you go some combination of rogue and the alternative build of wizard that's artificer, so you can actually say, oh no, I make these gadgets that these things happen, and
it totally fits because there's time where it's like, okay, well, all right, I'm locked in the jail cell. Let me pull out the three things that I can find. I've got a paper clip, a roll of duct tape, and some gum. What can I make? And next thing you know, he's,
And then there's an explosive inexplicably. Like all the things were like pretty far fetched they made, right? Was that?
Well, there's some people who had said, and I don't want to go too far off the track. It's like,
hey, we're talking Macgyver here.
A lot of things that Macgyver did, a lot of that could happen, but they skipped like one step or one ingredient just so that people weren't hurting themselves. I don't know how accurate that is. Again, I'm certain you people out there in the wonderful world of the internet will
this
say
is great.
yes or say no.
Yeah, I'm just thinking how great YouTubing this is. Ted explains Macgyver to Ryan. That's just an episode. So I don't know. Do we have anything else to add, or should we look to close this one out?
No, but I would just like to add that check out the spells. They're great resources for turning.
It's kind of like Terrible Terrain, where they strip out, like they say, all right, we're going to use this monster power to be a trigger of a trap. Maybe think about what you can do for items, but again, don't step on the toes of the actual
tabletop terrors.
What? Tabletop terrorist.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you said Terrible Terrain.
Oh, that's one of the things we do.
A company that's named our thing.
Yeah, it's terrible. All right, Tabletop Terrors, which is Tim and his brother, who I can't remember his name. But yeah, they did that really cool video. But it's the same thing. Could you weaken the spells, weaken the DCs to not step on the toes of the actual cast?
Ramp up the cash required, and let people buy it. I mean, Alchemist Fire is less powerful than the cantrip spell.
Yeah,
and it's pretty expensive.
But somebody
it's a great way to do something that you couldn't possibly do as a non-cast.
Well, that's the thing. A foe has to spend their action so they're going to take damage, and to stop taking damage, to make the hurting stop, they have to waste an action to do that, so they can't hurt you.
So they stop, drop, and roll, and they say, "Make it stop."
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So
meanwhile, you pull out the other one.
Oh, what a terrible thing! You just keep dropping him on him. He's prone. He's trying to get up. You just smash it on his head again.
All right. Well, on that note,
so much money.
Yeah. Make it rain.
Throwing away months of living onto this guy.
Yeah. Well, you guys, you can like, comment, subscribe.
You can also check the articles out on nerdarchy.com.
Or you can follow us on Facebook.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.